How many of you guys lease your phone or pay monthly for it, and how many own? Who's the owners? Owners, raise your hand.
Okay. Everybody.
Well, technically, Leo is the owner of my phone, but yes, it was.
They were purchased outright. Yes.
And what's in the studio? What are people saying?
Yeah, everybody's owners.
Okay. All right.
We're surrounded by owners right now.
Okay. Well, it's as I've been doing some research, I'm a consumer reporter in my other life. So as I've been doing some research on this, and I'm always going back and checking all the stuff about buy versus lease, and it's confusing. And that's on purpose. They're doing that to try it. I mean, there's really no benefit to the cellular companies to make this completely transparent, because it's usually to their benefit. But it seems like it used to be such a no-brainer that if you bought the phone and you had prepaid, that was definitely the cheaper way to go. It seems like there are some instances now where it's about equal. Not in like your track phone kind of a case, but when it comes to the big four. And I'm sort of fact checking that a little bit. So if anybody has any really strong opinions, you'll hear me say my Twitter handle's @BWorley. So ping me with your strong thoughts about this. But I don't know if you guys read in the Atlantic the other day, this really fascinating story about how almost 50% of the population struggles to have $400 for an emergency fund on hand. So buying those phones outright is not an option for a lot of people. So it's actually kind of good news that we're seeing more of the monthly plans that are not as different in total price you'll pay over the lifetime of the phone. And I'm just curious what folks have as their thoughts and their own personal experiences. I've always been a pay monthly, and now I'm going to a buy outright place with that. And so that's one thought. Secondly, trade-ins. What do you guys do with your old phones? Jason, what do you do?
I have a big drawer where my old phones go when I'm done with them. I mean, basically. But the reason I hold on to them is probably different than a lot of people, because I figure, I always get Android devices, and I hold on to them for the show, and just kind of because they're kind of history to me a little bit. Like, I would never get rid of my Motorola Droid, which was my first Android device. Like, I'm sure I could trade it away or whatever, but I could have, not now. But yeah, I keep it for that reason.
Well, I had a Samsung Galaxy S5 that I still am paying $15 a month for. It was just sort of, and my daughter dropped it and it was broken. I thought beyond repair. But then Jerry, who works here, he said, "Does anyone have one?" I was like, "I have one that doesn't work." He gave it to his son and got it working again. So yeah, it was lost to me.
So you're paying for
Jerry's son's phone, as opposed to it sitting in the drawer at home.
Yeah, so, right. And paying for it still.
Yeah.
And I have some of the ones that I've kept for my kids, thinking, these will be great for when we're on the plane or for music. But I've definitely got too many. So that's, one of my big ways that we waste money on cell phones is by not turning them in. I just checked the numbers. So at Apple, if you're going to trade in at the Apple store, you can get up to $300 in credit. They'll give you $50 for a 4S, $150 for a 5S. You get more money if you sell it on eBay, but it's not as easy, obviously. It's about 15 to 30% more if you do that. You've got your Gazelles and your, what's it called? Next Trade or something like that. But those are sort of... I think. Well, I'm getting to that. Yeah. I'll get to that one in a second. But there's all these services like Gazelle that will, pay you. Those are a little less than eBay, but maybe more than your trade-ins at the Apple Store and such. And the Galaxy S5, just so you, 5S or whatever, S5 was about $150, I think, Megan. So Jerry owes you that.
But working though, it had to be working. That's right, the other thing about this. It's like this constant upgrade. Like, especially when you think about handing it over to children, it's like you have to hand that phone in working. Like, in order to get anything for it.
Yeah.
So this is the next place that we waste money and where money can be saved. Motorola says 30% of all U.S. phones are cracked. I would say 100% of all teenagers' phones are cracked.
99.99%.
That's right. Say. There's that one really good kid who's in the chess club. His is not cracked. So, really interesting to look at the insurance plans. And so if you're a parent of a teenager, I'm pretty sure you should be getting an insurance plan. I had no idea how much the carrier insurance plans Verizon and AT&T were like $132 a year plus a deductible of $199 on Verizon. That doesn't even make any sense. Whereas if you were doing it through Apple Care, it's $64 a year, and then you pay like $79 if you get it wet, or I think it's if you crack the screen. I don't know what the wet deal is, but regardless, Apple Care. If you have a teenager.
Yeah, some sort of coverage. And might I actually tack onto this? You can include this. This one's free, Becky, because I've used this now not once but twice. But if you purchase your phone outright using a certain, like a Visa signature card is what I've purchased both of the phones that I've dropped and cracked within the first like 90 days of owning them. The Visa signature specifically, you got to check your terms. But if you do the full purchase on a credit card like that, you get built-in warranty protection. And many times they double the manufacturer's warranty. So if you have an instant year's worth of coverage, they'll give you a second year. Just for making the purchase on a credit card. In my case, in both cases, pretty much a free replacement of my phone because I dropped it and cracked it in the first 90 days, and they would still cover it for up to a year to a certain cost of coverage, and then I would pay the difference to replace it. So,
ooh, that's a good tip. I'm going to put that one in my arsenal. Thank you.
You bet.
And you mentioned Square Trade earlier. They're also, you can use this for Android phones, obviously, $60 a year, $99 an incident. Also a good option. You can use them on iPhones if you live far away from the store. It's nice to be able to go in and get that traded in. And then the last one, family plans. You don't have to be family to be on a family plan. Family plans can save you about half. The specific line that I was looking at, 4 lines, let's see, on T-Mobile, if you get 4 lines, it's about $55 a person. But if you did it on your own, it would cost about $95 a person. So that's a little tip.
Yeah.
And the final one is data. Do you guys know how much data you use every month? I mean, we're kind of weird because we're journalists and nerds. So, like we're going to stream everything. But have you done a data audit?
I don't know if I've done a data audit, but I follow it kind of semi-regularly. And I know that my cap with my plan, I mean, it's not a cap. Well, it really is. It's 5 gigs. It's basically unlimited data, but at 5 gigs, it ramps down to 2G. And I never hit that because I'm always on Wi-Fi. So that works for me.
Yeah. I'm always on Wi-Fi too.
I think I read that the average American uses 2.9 gigs a month, but that a third of Americans use less than 500 megs a month. Wow. And so, I was just checking on my carrier. 5 gigs is $50 a month. 15 gigs is $100. So if you're overbuying because you're still in that fear of overages world, that could be like $600 a month. I mean, $600 a year in savings. And doing one of those data audits is not hard. They're actually making it easier now. So like I logged into my carrier and went to billing, and they have this little nice tool graph and show me how much I'm using every month. And they've made it easier. It's worth your time to do it. Yeah.
Do data audit. Add it to my long to-do list.
Yes. So these are just some of the tips that I came across. But like I said, I'm more crowdsourcing. If anyone disagrees with these completely or has better ideas, please ping me on Twitter at Becky Worley. I would love the feedback. And also any added tips are much appreciated.